Locum pay is so much higher than W-2 pay, but so many people say, why is it so much higher? Well, let's do a little bit of a calculation. So, usually, pay is based on 2,080 hours in a work year. So, 40 hours a week times 52 is 2,080 hours. But locums don't get paid time off unless they take time off and it's unpaid. So you have to take those 8 weeks or whatever your time off is. That's 320 hours that have to come out of that 2,080 hours, which is 15%. So initially, that 15% needs to come into the pay somehow. So usually you would increase the amount of 1099 pay at least by 15%. And then employers usually pay at least half of the FICA taxes. So that's another 7.2%. And then you have other benefits that would normally be offered by an employer. So all of those benefits that would normally be paid, whether that's insurance, malpractice type insurance, continuing education, um, other disability type insurance, and then any of the can like other education, family benefits, and just whatever else. And then you have the travel thing like being away from home, time that it takes that you have to travel to the facility. There's always a time in between contracts. There's never time that you are immediately go leave on a Sunday and you're back to work on a Monday. So there's always going to be like a dead space that's in between a contract. So you have to think about why would a locum contractor um, earn less than someone that is working a W-2 job to leave their family and go to another facility, work in some unknown location with unknown people, in maybe a less than desirable situation because usually it's a short staff type situation to where you're having to work harder or work in less desirable types of cases. Um, Generally, it's expected that a locum provider is going to be more experienced or have more skills and be ready to uh, hit the ground running, as we say. And so each one of these things means that we have to be compensated for that ability and that time away that um, it takes to be able to just make up for that W 2 person that is stable and staying in one location. Not to mention just extra wear and tear on our automobiles, on all of those other things. So there are some benefits to being your own independent contractor, and there's ways that you can save and be able to do things tax wise to where you can say it's not what you earn, but how much you keep. And there's ways to make that better, but that depends on you and your accountant and how well you manage the money that comes in. But that's the same as any W 2 person that says, I can manage my money and do it better than the person next door. And it's really important to just take that consideration in when you're developing a 1099 pay. And if you're wondering how I got to that, that's why we usually say 1099 pay should be at least 30% higher, if not a little more, than a W 2 position. So, thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe the channel.